As President Buhari promises a more intense approach to handling security in the country, we look in depth into what is said and what is happening. And Lagos APC Central candidate wins today in court as court dismisses PDP's case against his victory at the poll. Hello everyone and welcome to Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Seun Okinbaloye at Channels Television's global headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. Let's begin by giving you updates of what happened in the courtroom today. The candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC at the Lagos East Senatorial District election, Senator Tokunbo Abiru, has won again. This time is a victory from the courtroom. A federal high court in Lagos today dismissed a suit seeking to disqualify Senator Abiru of the APC from continuing to represent Lagos East Senatorial District in the National Assembly. Justice Chuka Obiozo dismissed the suit filed by the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in a 5-hour judgment delivered on Monday. He upheld the argument conversed by Abiru's lawyers and a senior advocate of Nigeria, Kemi Pinheiro, that the PDP's case was a statute barred. The judge also disagreed with the PDP's argument made through its counsel and senior advocate of Nigeria, Ebunolu Adegborua, that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) cannot transfer a voter's registration details. Abiru was since being sworn into office, won the last senatorial by-election conducted by INEC on the 5th of December 2020 by polling 89,204 votes to defeat the candidate of the PDP in the election, Babatunde Gbadamosi, who polled 11,257. The issues of security get our attention again tonight because of some of what has happened, the contemporary matters as regarding how Nigeria can be saved. We'll delve into that matter, but first and foremost, let's serve you with some of your political roundup stories.
Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State has convened an expanded security meeting over rising threats in the state. According to the governor, the bandits recently dislodged from the western zone of the state have regrouped in some communities in 3 local government areas.
Unfortunately, a lot of them being members of Darussalam that have turned into Boko Haram are now or have now actually regrouped.
The crisis rocking the All Progressives Congress in Kwara State is yet to abate as youths in Omupo constituency are threatening to institute a recall process against the member for non-performance.
It came to us as an odd shock that our honorable representative do not participate in any of this debate on the floor of the House.
The member, while reacting, describes the youths as ungrateful and the process the work of his political enemies.
I will, however, advise these individuals to put their malicious acts aside.
Some youths and women in Imo State, under the aegis of Concerned Imo Stakeholders Forum, have thrown their weight behind the ongoing probe of former governor of Imo State, Senator Rochas Okorocha, by the Hope Uzodinma administration. The youths made this known during a solidarity rally organized in support of Governor Uzodinma, maintaining that the programs and policies of the present administration have benefited Imo people immensely in the last 1 year.
Nobody will intimidate us anymore. Hope Uzodinma is the answer.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So let's get into the conversation of tonight. It's about the security. which appears to be perhaps one of the most, or the primary role of government. So more killings seems to be happening despite President Buhari's stern warning against banditry and attacks in the country. Today, no fewer than 10 people were killed after bandits attacked 3 villages in Zangot-Kataf and Shekun local government areas of Kaduna State. The latest incident comes barely 24 hours after 7 people were killed by bandits in Igabi and Kajuru local government areas of the state. The president has said that he will not tolerate any form of attack again, and he promised also that those who are abducted will be released. Amidst all of the effort being canvassed by National Assembly members and the token of from governors in all of the states. So where do we stand? What exactly is the stand of President Buhari on this? Tonight, we're going to get some of President Buhari's thoughts on what is happening in the nation and his approach to some of these issues. I'm being joined tonight by the spokesperson of the president, Mr. Femi Adesina, who joins us on the program tonight. Thank you so much, Mr. Adesina, for talking to us tonight on the program. And let's begin the conversation. First and foremost, let's get some clarity on the stand of the president as regarding the issue of security. It does look like the president said over the end of last week that something like a promise that that abduction we saw was going to be the last. What prompted that kind of statement? And a lot of people will be wondering, maybe the president has made a move that will stop any of such kind of abductions around the schools in the country.
Thank you. Good evening. Well, no president or leader of the country would want the citizens to be abducted or kidnapped or maltreated in any way. A president, particularly the Nigerian president, would have sworn to protect lives and property before he can even be called the president. That was what happened in May 2015 when President Buhari took the oath of office. It was also repeated in 2019 after his second-term victory. So every president worth his salt would be determined to protect the people. And that is the position of the president on the security situation in the country. We know that the times are challenging, very, very challenging. Nobody can deny that. But we also know that these challenges will not last forever because we don't see evil overcoming good eventually. These killings, these criminalities are evil, and evil never overcomes good. So Nigeria will prevail over this evil subsequently.
So, speak specifically, Mr. Adesina, to the issue of that will be the last abduction. That statement. I was asking, what do you think prompted that statement from the president?
And I answered you by saying no president expects the citizens of his country to be abducted, kidnapped, or killed. No president expects that. So, President Buhari is determined to step up the war against insecurity. Tomorrow, a security council meeting holds at the presidential villa in the morning tomorrow. Is all part of fulfilling his pledges to secure the country. Whatever it takes, President Buhari will ensure that it is done.
So the reason I was asking that question is that sometimes when you get that kind of assurance, it gives a sense of the fact that something major has been done to forestall that kind of occurrence. For example, if I promise that I will never come late to work, maybe I've moved closer to my place of work. So that assurance is coming from the president. Are you saying that there is really nothing aside the fact that maybe the president was just giving words of hope?
No, but if you know how security works, when something like that is promised, you don't then go waving it like a flag on television. You don't go disclosing all the strategies But such assurances would not be given without strategies having been formulated. We will see better security in this country. That is what the president is telling the country.
So the president also mentioned that he was asking school owners to scale up security in their environment. But those who have criticized that statement will said all the security apparatus in the country is being controlled by the president. When he's saying that they should scale up security, he is the one who is in charge of all the security, the military and the police. They're at the order of the president.
That can only be wrong. It can only be wrong, and it can only be part of the problem rather than part of the solution. Security is everybody's business. Everybody's business. Even at the ward level, at the local government level, people can be part of the security apparatus, because when you see something and you say something, you are contributing to the security architecture in the country. When you see strangers loitering around and moving suspiciously at the local level, you can tell somebody. You can tell the traditional ruler, who will tell the security agencies. If we have the mindset that everything about security is the duty of the president, that can only be wrong. Yes, the president has the responsibility to guarantee safety of lives and property according to the Constitution, which is swore to. But then to say that it is his sole responsibility, sole business, sole prerogative, would be very wrong. Everybody is part of the security architecture in the country. It's just that the responsibility weighs heavier on one person than the other, but we all are part of it.
I mean, so when I asked that question, Mr. Additional, is the fact that the commander-in-chief, the president, whom you're speaking for tonight, is the man who controls the Inspector General of Police, who is in charge of all the police formations in the country. The president is the one who is in charge of the military. And so those who have criticized the president's stance on this security of school facilities in the country, some of which are even federal schools, or in fact, if they're not federal schools, they're perhaps state school, but the federal government or the president is the commander-in-chief. And so they're saying, has this not taught us any lesson? What is the takeaway for the president as regarding the manner in which our security architecture in this country is built? Is the president thinking of diffusing power such that the state government also can take full charge of their territory?
Well, that is not quite right. You are talking of diffusing so that state governments can take charge. They have always been in charge. Governors are the chief security officers of their states. It's not the president. You see, it's very convenient to talk about true federalism when it pleases us. And at other times, it's also convenient to heap everything on the president. Oh, governors are the chief security officers of their states. And they have a role to play in the security architecture of the country. Yes, the president is the commander-in-chief. Yes, everything, the ball stops at his table. But governors, just in case you have forgotten, are chief security officers of their states.
Okay, so we'll take a break now, Mr. Additional. But briefly before we go on that break, Mr. Additional, for someone like Ms. Aisha Yusufu, who was on the program, and her response when that abduction happened, she said that she cannot believe or take the words of the president when he promises issue of security. How does this appear or sit with the president when some citizens say they cannot take the words of the president, considering the scale and the spate of insecurity that we're seeing and the incident that we have seen in the past years under the Buhari government?
Yeah, Ms. Yusufu has a right to her opinion. She has a right to believe or to disbelieve. The fact that she disbelieves does not stop more than 100 million other Nigerians to believe. She has a right to her opinion. I don't speak for her. So I have no comment on whatever she believes or does not believe.
But Mr. Additional, how do you feel working for the president who promised security as a major primary agenda of his government? And a lot of people believe that this kind of incident that we have seen, at least 4 of those abductions have happened under this government. And they say, look, the last one is one too many under this government.
Now, when those abductions happen, how do they end? You had Dapchi, they were recovered. You had Kankara, they were recovered. You had Kagara, they were recovered. We are working on Jagebe in Zamfara now. You look at the end result, not just that it happened. This is a vast country with security challenges. There could be glitches, there could be shortcomings in one area or the other, but how did those things end? So give some credit to these governments. Thank you.
Stay with us, Mr. Adeshina. We take a break. And when we come back, there are far more interesting issues that we need you to talk to on this issue of national security of the country, the position of President Buhari, his approach in handling this issue, and the concerns of Nigerians. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. We've been speaking with the president's spokesperson, Mr. Femi Adesina, and the issue of national security. Mr. Adesina, thank you for your time tonight. Let's get back to the conversation. When you say, maybe the president and the reaction to the president, of the president to some of this issue is a defense into the manner and approach in which things have turned out. But the question is, for those who have criticized and said, these things should never have happened in the first place, because what a lot of people are making reference to is the manner in which, when the APC was campaigning pre-2015, is the ability to handle things better than the previous government. And now these things are happening, and they have now tagged your government a reactive government. How do you respond to that?
There's nothing wrong in being reactive. You can't be proactive about everything.
But security needs proactiveness, Mr. Adesina, isn't it?
No.
In security, you need to be proactive. In fact, they say prevention of crime is the ultimate in security.
The truth, that is not correct. That is not correct. You can just see it in judgment. You can be magisterial and be wrong. In security, there will be things you will also react to. Yes, you can be proactive in preventing certain things, but the truth is that you cannot prevent everything. No country in the world, no single country in the world has been able to prevent all security glitches. It happens, but the speed with which you react and the efficiency with which you react will matter. When Kankara happened, and those boys were taken into the forest, immediately the security forces swung into action and they ringed those abductors round. They were not able to take those boys out of the country. Compare that to the time the Chibok girls were taken. And because there was dithering on the part of government then, the girls have been taken far before anything could be done. Prompt action, swift action is also part of security reaction. And we have seen that in all that has happened in this administration. So we can't just sit and begin to be magisterial, saying everything must be proactive. It's good to be proactive, but no country in the world has been able to achieve that.
The Zamfara incident, Mr. Adesina, when should we be expecting those kids back home?
At the shortest possible time. That is why government is working, state government, federal government, security agencies, inter-agency collaboration, everything is happening. Everything possible is being done to bring those schoolgirls back.
Who is leading the federal government delegation in this regard? And what are you hearing from their, from the communication from them? How hopeful should we be as regarding these kids from Jangebe?
No, there is the security apparatus, and there is a structure to that apparatus. You can be sure that every member of the apparatus is at work. Every member of the apparatus is at work.
There are negotiations, isn't it, Mr. Additional, on this, on getting these kids back, isn't it?
Everything, every card is on the table. Every card is on the table.
Go ahead, please.
Let me finish. Each situation is taken according to its own peculiarities. There are situations in which there will be dialogue. There are situations in which there will be negotiations. You prefer the word negotiation, but it could be dialogue from the part of government. Don't forget one thing that President Buhari said as early as 2015 when he just came into office, talking about Chibok girls. He said whatever it took to bring those girls back, he would do. Even if it means paying, he will pay. He's on record as having said that. It shows you that all cards are going to be on the table when it comes to the security of Nigerians. So we can't sit in the comfort of our homes and just rule out some possibilities. No, the president will not do that. The president will put all the cards on the table and whatever is necessary to be done without compromising the sovereignty of the country, without compromising the situation further, he will do. All that matters is let those girls come back. If they were boys, let them come back. Let them be reunited with their families. It's easy to sit back and say negotiation, dialogue should not be done. It's so easy to say. But to the president, each situation is taken according to its peculiarities. There are times government will not brook any form of dialogue or negotiation. And there are times when it will talk. Remember, the president said it as far back as 2015. If it means paying to get the Chibok girls back, he will pay. There were some of them that came back and no ransom was paid. And government came out to say no ransom was paid. But people are often ready to just believe the worst. Already, before these boys were released, you know that news had gone out that government paid 800 million naira. And they had not even been released. They were not released till a clear week or 10 days after. Yet, some blogs and some
there seems to be some okay.
Quick to believe the worst. They never believe the truth that government says. This government is forthright. If ransom was paid, it will tell the country that ransom was paid. And if it's not paid, it will also say so.
So let's get it clearly now, Mr. Additional. In all of the negotiations that have been made and the release of the abductees, there were never any kind of payment whatsoever.
If there was payment, it will be disclosed. That's what I'm saying. And if there was payment, it will not be my duty. Because I speak for the president. The president will not be the one to pay the ransom. The agencies that will pay the ransom have spokesmen who can confirm or deny whether ransoms were paid.
Let's wrap up quickly, and let me ask you, Mr. Additional. At some point in 2013 or 14, I'm trying to remember the date precisely now, President Buhari, then General Buhari, was quoted to have asked former President Jonathan to resign on the issue of security. Some people have come up also to ask that security situation in the country is deteriorating, and so they're asking President Buhari to resign. How is the president taking that?
Under a democracy, people have freedom of speech. That's one thing that is peculiar to democracy. You have freedom of speech, although that freedom also has boundaries. There is no freedom that does not have boundaries. The freedom that has no boundaries will even injure the person who is utilizing that freedom. Every freedom has boundaries. So if anybody says that kind of thing under a democracy, it is allowed. But when it verges on causing chaos and sending the country into a tailspin, that person may be asked to come and answer certain questions. But under a democracy, yes, there's freedom of speech.
So quickly, Mr. Additional, if the president promised security and things are not working, would you regard that as failure?
No, it will not be failure. It will be work in progress. Because if you think it is failure, then you are part of the problem of the country rather than being part of the solution. What every Nigerian should realize and accept is that the country has challenges, serious challenges, and therefore we must all be part of the solution. If we take the position you have adopted just now, you are part of the problem rather than part of the solution. This is a time when we all need to come together, encourage our security agencies, encourage the president. The president is also human. He needs our support and encouragement. But if all we do is come up with criticism, then we are part of the problem rather than part of the solution.
All right. We need to go now, but Mr. Additional, just in 10 seconds. The cleric that has been abducted by Boko Haram and is pleading and is giving an ultimatum, is the president aware, and is he doing anything in releasing that cleric?
The president receives security reports, daily security reports. Such a thing will hardly happen in the country, and the president will not be privy to it. At different levels, efforts are being made to ensure that the cleric is released. So you can't say, is the president aware? The president receives daily security reports about crucial things in the country. So he will be aware.
Mr. Femi Additional, thank you so much for giving us the mind of President Buhari on some of these issues. We will probably, at some point, personally, get him to talk to us right here. Thank you so much, Mr. Additional, for talking to us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's the spokesperson of President Muhammadu Buhari, Mr. Femi Additional. But that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Akimbaloye. Bye for now.